Okay, good stuff. Hello and welcome to Your Quantum Embodiment. I am Dr. Jennifer Markham, and I'm here with my co-host, Sayler Shiningstar. Sayler Shiningstar is an energy whisperer and sexual healer, changing bodies simply by being the space, kindness, and caring she is naturally. Orgasmic Embodiment, radio TV show Sayler hosted, was birthed out of her body's desire to bring about greater awareness of, for, and with bodies, what bodies desire, and how a turned on orgasmic body is the prima materia of creation, quintessential. Sayler is a space of quiet potency and curiosity, empowering you to ponder what is true for you and on your path. As a steward of the earth and bodies, and a voice for the seen and unseen, she empowers you to follow your inner knowing and to ask your body and other beings for their awareness and energies along the way. Horses have been a major part of Sayler's life. Her grandfather, Papa, got her hooked on horses when she was only 2 years old. On Saturday mornings, he would take Sayler to Missouri stables so she could pet horses on the nose. At age 4, she started English horseback riding lessons and later went on to show, provide horse camps, and host a horse rescue and sanctuary using a variety of natural feeds, products, healing modalities, and natural horsemanship to change the lives of animals and people involved. Sayler is a mother, a daughter, friend, lover, nature and animal lover, and steward. She is an embodiment consultant, shamanist, happy mouth energetic dentistry, Akashic Records consultant, Reiki master, rebirther, Waldorf early childhood teacher, and co-creator of Infinite Possibilities with Horses, and has been affiliated with Access Consciousness Bars, Body Processes, Energetic Facelift, and hosted facilitators across the mainland. She can be contacted via email at saylershiningstar at proton.me, or that's saylershiningstar at proton.me, or direct message on Telegram at Sayler Shiningstar. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you, Jen. How are you today?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm excited about this conversation.
Me too. Me too. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Jen. This is Dr. Jennifer Markham, naturopath. She is a visionary artist, naturopathic doctor, a teacher, writers, and speakers supporting individuals on their healing journey, the journey to self-actualization and optimal health. I like that, the optimal health. Yeah. She educates, inspires, and empowers individuals in harmonizing body, mind, and spirit. And in her private practice, Vitality Healing Center, since 2016, boy, 1916 would be really long.
Wow.
2016, she infuses individualized quantum healing therapeutics such as craniosacral, acupuncture, botanicals, biotherapeutic drainage, applied kinesiology, gemstones, sound, art, and color therapy. She paints a picture of the soul on the human journey, with dis-ease being the opportunity to remember who we are and discover one's dharmic path through the healing journey. True healing is a journey from dissonance to resonance with one's true self. In this way, one's world transforms from the inside out. She is passionate in being together. She's in bringing together community for the offering of healing practices, creative arts, education, and experiences for the support of living in harmony with nature, within and without. Dr. Markham can be reached at Vitality Healing ND for Naturopath Doctor So vitalityhealingnd.com or through LinkedIn or Linktree / Dr. Markham. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, Jen, thank you. It's so great to be here. And we get to have and play with a topic that I love because it is so large, just and encompasses so much. We're going today to just start talking about mothering.
Well, it's Sailor. Is this just for mothers then?
Yeah, no, no, because as we all have both masculine and feminine, and since my daughter was 2, I was a single parent, so I did mothering and fathering. So there's so much that this encompasses. So as we're talking, my energy starting to go up, up,
Ooh,
up,
ooh.
up. Whoa, I'm buzzing. Talk
I
about
love it. I love
quantum
it.
embodiment. Wow.
All it takes.
Yeah. So mothering. What is mothering for you, Dr. Jen?
Mm. Well, broader sense of the term, as we just discovered, it doesn't mean that one is just a mother, and then therefore they are in the action of being a mother, but rather what it means to me is a blend of the positive aspects of being supportive, mothering as it were, supportive, there for another in any relationships, um, and also that fine balance between being there, supporting, and then if we flip the same coin and it's less of the attractive qualities is codependency of being needed by the person that you want to help, because it is also serving into oneself or imposing, being overly motherly, worrying or imposing one's ideas or what you feel is right onto another. And so this topic of mothering, which we're just stepping into, for me, it is that blend. And I like to think of it in the positive way. I know we're going to dive into the balance of this nurturing, wanting, being in service and support, but honoring the sovereignty and individualism of each being, no matter who they are, whether or not they're a child, or an adult child, or a partner, or a friend, or any of these relationships. I want to have that positive connotation to the mothering. Which I believe begins within first. So I'm curious what you would have to say about mothering, being that you are a mother, but also from your perspective here.
There were a couple of things that I, as I was listening to what you were saying, that popped in for me. One that wasn't mentioned was mothering ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like to go back and start reparenting the inner child at young ages and then moving forward. Mm-hmm. And then knowing what we need as an adult to feel in balance, to show up for ourselves so then we can show up for others. And then, mothering our animals, our 4-leggeds, our 2-leggeds, our wingeds, or what have you, being a, what's the word I want? Word is not coming at the moment. It's just on the tip of my tongue. Helping the planet, being respectful, being a steward of the planet for all beings. And some of us pick certain types of beings or ideas or peoples or organizations, reasons that we would like to champion or what was that word again? Steward, thank you. To steward those, to mother those, to bring love and comfort and hold those. In Waldorf, we talk of it as the kind of like the B, the letter B in the sound, but it's the B where we're holding the energetics of other beings, places, things, and in the energetics, the regard that requires to continue to build and grow and blossom and balance, and where the individual, be it a business, a person, a school, or what have you, requires to grow into fruition.
Yeah. I love what we just, what you just touched on, and we dived into that little bit on the surface, the mothering of self and the mothering connection with what our heart calls us to, and the stewarding of life itself, which first within, so without, being all as one. And I love this. We were speaking about mothering in the aspect of our perspective in having awareness, and tying that into the awareness of the earth, our bodies, others' bodies, in the sense of their energetic body, right? Their spiritual body. And this awareness that we can have in our energetic field, which relates to mothering. It reminds me of, or I was just reminded of, when we're perhaps not feeling well, or we're run down, or we're more in an internal space. I think about some of the mothers that I actually know, or parents, and their need, and also feeling that they need to be there and do their very best, which is what we're always doing, but do their very best to continue to be parenting, to continue to hold space and listen, or make meals, or whatever might be necessary. I know I'm getting right down to like those parenting things actually, but this is just an example of where is the balance for oneself, if you're that parent who's run down, or you got your couple days, you need to rest on the couch or whatnot, and drink your liquids and take care of yourself. You have others to care for. This balance again of understanding where that mothering and loving and holding space must always start within, in order for us to, and our bodies will call us right to it, in order for us to be in that space of allowance, and with others as well. I'd love to hear a little bit about your experience with this topic in your past. I know you brought up the Waldorf, and what was that sound again?
Oh, the ba. So
Ba.
ba. So in Waldorf, there's something called eurythmy, which is dance. It's movement to sound, and the ba looks like a B. Like, so if it was held, so this, but it's coming, our body, our arms is the long base, and then our hands come through, almost like we're holding beings. So the ba.
The ba.
Yeah.
I love this.
So I was just thinking, as we were talking about, you were talking about that, the description, and I thought, I had this memory of, so this was mothering out, just pulling what I had to have in the moment, so that I could still be sick, and with my very young daughter, still infant, not moving much, have her with me, and sort of function, not really, but so I was married. My daughter's father, off to work he went. I was very sick. I went down and laid down on the living room floor on the carpet, brought the blanket down for my daughter to be on, and that's where we camped out for the day. I had extra diapers or whatever I needed, but she was breastfeeding, so I laid on the floor
Mhm.
I think I finally got the phone and called my chiropractor to do some applied or AK or CK. His office was right across the street from where I lived. I go,
Oh.
can you come over and do a house call? I'm a mess. And it helped. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I can't be going up and down the steps feeling this way. So
Mhm.
yeah, so we do what we need to do.
Right.
That sounds like an odd way of mothering. I probably could have had somebody come over and help take care of me. I don't know if my mother was out of town or I might not just wanted to have heard what she was going to be saying as I was sick on the floor and where's her father?
Uh, See the other side of some truths in there, and then also the other side of mothering, very
Yeah,
protective and
yeah, yeah. So,
maybe a bit.
I mean, we do, we do what we have to do in the
Abs-
moment, and and
Absolutely.
and sometimes there's much grace there, and sometimes well, the phrase I grew up with was stepping and fetching, trying to catch up with what I required to
Mhm.
be effective in the moment and feel in balance. And I didn't have much balance that day, so balance was flat on the floor.
Horizontal balance.
Yeah, and just having quiet, lots of
Mhm.
quiet.
Very
Yeah.
good. It sounds like you were, I mean, that was a serious day. You were really, I can just imagine newborn and then home alone, like, I don't know about eating, getting to the bathroom, all these things. And you bring up a very astute point. We do what we have to do. And what's incredible is the resiliency, which because the physical isn't, well, that's easy to say. The physical isn't the physical isn't the physical, meaning physical symptoms can relate to other and do tie to our emotional or spiritual. And I also like to speak to we're upgrading, right? We're having that
Mhm.
opportunity, but when we're so challenged in it, it's not like that was a challenge, but I think it was so beautiful that as a young mother, you were like, okay, well, I'm here, I'm doing this, but this is the best I can do, and I'm going to be laying on the floor. And I wanted to backtrack, even it's a little side note. So I know what AK is, applied kinesiology, and others
Mhm.
may have that, but you said CK as well. What's that?
Clinical kinesiology.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think he taught applied and also did clinical. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. That's good to distinguish. And I would love to hear, actually, this might be a good moment to know a little bit more about your background. And I shared it in the bio, and I know you're a mother and many roles as we all serve and play. But I'd love to understand a little bit more about some of these tools and experiences and things that you've had um, time with in the past that have also brought this greater awareness for you, not just as a mother, but greater awareness for you. And I actually remember today, as I read it in your bio, that this checking in with our bodies, which this is a theme. I mean, this is your quantum embodiment, checking in with our bodies and checking in with others. Maybe that's a new concept to some people. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. That was somewhat of a new concept to me. What do you mean? How am I supposed to check in with somebody else's body? Right? I wasn't thinking along those lines. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background and this connection to more about how we embody, how we check in, and
Sure.
and maybe why. Well, we get into why this is important in all of our relationships in this balance of mothering or this energy of love, space, holding, being supportive for ourselves and others, but not to cross those lines. You didn't call your mom maybe because maybe you didn't want to hear, some of those things or have that energy, at that time. for how you were feeling, what you thought your mother would maybe say, and that felt like too much or whatever. I mean, I'm sort of plugging in thoughts here, but you get the idea. So please.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so as you were talking, the thing that brought up the most about, so for me, communicating with my body, asking my body questions is quintessential. We
Mhm,
have in your spirit, your soul, I call it my infinite being that is connected with everything.
mhm.
It needs nothing, nothing. It has everything.
Yes.
It's our bodies that require food, water, clothing at times, places to live, fun things to do. Um, for women, um, awesome sex, so our creativity comes out even more. We're very different than men in that relationship, in that respect. Um, I can check about what my body wants to wear, if my body wants something to drink, if my body wants something to eat, and trust. Because we can, boy, I'm condensing a lot into, phew,
Oh, I'm
uh,
sure.
just this is another multiple days of recording in and of itself.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, I'll note that. Perhaps our listeners will want to
yeah.
dive in. I'm sure that's the idea here. I'd love to dive further into it.
Well, I did a year, and unfortunately they're not available anymore, but I did a year and a half of weekly videos and or TV and radio show on orgasmic embodiment and all the things that brought that in. So, um, when I started to really become aware of what my body was doing and the messages they were giving out, I mean, really become aware,
Mhm.
was when I started doing natural horsemanship and I went to classes. And
Mhm.
the horse, quite had for a while, we, he was such a wonderful mirror, all of them are,
Mhm.
as to what I was hanging on to or my fears, and or whether I was connecting with him.
Mhm.
And
So I can speak to that for horsemanship just for a moment, because if other people haven't, some people have these experiences in my time being a horse girl, horsemanship as well, in different ways. I love this background that we both share, but a lot of people have either never ridden a horse or maybe only had one experience, and like fear that comes up even in that moment. But when working with an animal, even if a person's not thinking about a dog, well, clearly I'm thinking about a dog. If somebody's not thinking about a horse and they're thinking about, well, what connection do I have? Some people can have experiences from bad experiences or what have you from other animals. And even if there hasn't been, how do you approach an animal? And just like all beings, we're all reflections. So any living animal, but especially in my experience as well with horses, they're very spiritually intelligent. They're very attuned to you. Everything's really clear to them. And so they can give you feedback because you might be trying to get them to go this way or go that way, or listen, slow down, or just directions. You're trying to work in unison with the horse. If you're on the horse yourself, and if you're not present to that moment or connected with your body, there's these signs. And it sounds like maybe not everybody would pick up on those things, but in your case, it's like this is a gift to you. And there was this awareness with working in horsemanship that brought you into deeper connection with your body. I'd love to hear more about this.
yes, yes. So, just a little backtrack in that story. Well, we'll backtrack a little more. Um, so to give you an idea of why I wasn't connected with my body, is I went through 11 years of incest from 5 until 16,
Mhm.
till I finally said, enough is enough. You may not. Don't even get close to me.
Mhm.
I shut down. I didn't really have feelings. I did all sorts of things not to feel or to feel differently.
Mhm.
A love in my life, as in my bio, was taken to see horses at the age of 2. So they were always important to me. The class I happened to be taking, the natural horsemanship class, the instructor at one point in time, one of the teachers, they turned on the music to get us to move a little differently and to get out of our brains. And what she said, wow, look at Sayler, turn on the music and watch her move or come alive or something like that. And I thought, oh my gosh, yes, I was so almost rigid with this horse. I
Mm.
wasn't present. And for me, being present is breathing,
Mhm.
exhaling, you
Yeah.
breathe in, out.
Oh.
And those things became very, I want to say innate, not necessarily. I actually had to remind myself from having held my breath for 40 some odd years,
Mm.
being around a man that was angry and doing, just misusing my body. Um, and I still, at times, catch myself holding my breath.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm in my 60s, people. I'm still hold my breath. So it's like, okay, I'm still learning. Still, and my body, because I do talk with her, not to her. I used to do a lot of talking to her or at her.
Mhm.
Didn't
Mhm.
like this bump, didn't like this bulge, you know, straighten up, smile, be present. When I started asking my body questions and having conversations with her, hey, body, hi, body. Nice to see you this morning, body. How are you? And just being present, holding, hugging, touching. It's a way of mothering oneself to bring that back around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And and mothering my body. Hey, body, are you hungry? Not
Mm.
just jumping to what do you want to eat, but are you hungry?
I love that one. Quite honestly, it's simplistic and so powerful.
Yeah, yeah. Or
So
or
powerful.
would you like something to drink? Because a lot of times when we think we're hungry, we're thirsty. So it's
Absolutely.
just those simple questions without a preconceived notion of what the answer is or
Mm.
should be
Right.
or
Or
should not
should be.
be.
Should. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And being open to, wow, what do I require? What or desire? What does someone else require or desire? I have this, oh, he's hiding over in the corner in his little spot. I have this 7, 8 month old kitten
Mm.
that requires at about 5 or 5:30 in the morning to do his little, and if he's up, really up, he's already done his zoomies around the holly, and he's picked up one of his toys and he keeps bringing it to me, and he'll nudge it and nudge it at me. And if I don't pay attention, until I pick it up and I toss it across the room, and he dives off the bed, jumps up onto whatever it might be on, or over something to get it,
Mhm.
brings it back. As he's coming up on the bed to bounce and bounce over me to go to the other side, which he prefers the other side, he drops it and turns around and waits. So, yes, that girl, yes. So I also have mothering of the kitten.
Yes.
And and in that, he's actually even mothering me. He's bringing me so much freaking joy to play with him and to watch him have fun and to feel that energy enliven in him and in myself. It is just, it's so, we don't have to be humans to mother. We don't have to be females to mother.
Thank
and
you.
and we can actually gift it in asking others for what we need and receiving, whether we've asked or not, or asked in that moment. Maybe it's a loved one that we have talked about love languages with, and whatever. Like, I like to give gifts, so giving gifts. I also have some friends that love to give gifts, and if in receiving that openly, just receiving it with joy, whether it's a comment, whether it's a piece of fruit. I don't know if anybody. So my friend,
Beautiful.
it's an
Yes.
amethyst, and it was a very clunky ring. It was a cocktail ring that was given my mother at when she was a teen, and she gave it to me. She didn't wear it. I've had it for 35 plus years, and I've worn it 3 or 4 times. I have a friend that's a jeweler, and I said, will you make this into a pendant for me so I will wear it?
Yes.
And he came back to me the next week with it, and I've worn it almost every day for the last 5 days since I got it.
Wow, what a change.
It is. And the energy, the gift of him doing that, and the energy that the amethyst has with my body and my being is enlivening. And people, I guess people say it's protection too. I don't know. I don't go there with that. Um, but I feel like I'm really more connected with it. With everything and every being. When I'm in the moment, like I live in a jungle, and it's green here, and I can look out and look at a specific tree, and the energy I receive from that tree is so much more wearing this than it was prior to. Yeah, so I have to tell him that. I have, when I see him this weekend. Just one more thing to be grateful for. Um, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love that. One is beautiful. For those who can't see what Sailor was showing, this
Oh yeah.
pendant is just beautiful, very large. And well, so I work with gemstones. So I think of amethyst, it is aligning, it creates structure. It is really supportive for healing. This amethyst, why can't I think of the word? Bed, mat, biomat, biomat with the amethyst in it. Extremely powerful. But the energetics also, just any stone, it goes to show the connections when we're connecting. You're holding this thing that's come from nature. You're wearing it, you've repurposed it, it's wrapped for you. You've decided, I'm going to ask for something, then I'm going to receive that. Or that elemental piece is connected. What I'm hearing is it's connecting you more with nature. And who's the ultimate, mama, except Pachamama or Gaia, or Aina, like the earth, this place that we live, which is ever supplying. And this connection that you speak of. And I also, it's just beautiful. And there's no substitute for nature, so to speak. And I also love what you brought up about this this excuse me um connecting with your kitty, and how animals and other beings in our lives can mother us. What feels like we're going into more today around this conversation with mothering is these positive aspects for ourselves. I mean, you're also speaking to, you spoke to the other side of things, with your background of having all those years of, of abuse, incest,
Yeah.
and whether someone has experienced that or the very common large number of individuals, not just females, who have been physically or sexually assaulted at least once in their life, and these traumas that physically happen. And sometimes people have had just a terrible accident, or the list goes on, which will or can, certainly will, I would say, and then can continue to, if we don't have the awareness or the proper support or just given time. But there will be an effect on the physical body, just like you speak to. And I'm just picturing you there riding, kind of, I got that sense of like, keep it together, whether you're conscious of it or not. There's like this experience when we do not feel embodied or safe in our body. We might not be conscious of it at all. These other aligned things. And I can relate to that, kind of keep it together, stand upright, uh, be poised, and gosh, I'm hearing a friend's voice in my head. Let that shit go. Let that go, like shake that off, and in essence, you're like you were unlocking your body is what it sounds like to me with the horsemanship. And as you connected more, it sounds also like through movement.
Mhm.
Surprise, surprise, but even movement of just the breath. Because like when you were sick and young mother, it wasn't the time to just get up and move all around, but what was going to serve you? I'm just thinking of just breathing, these simple things that connect us in with ourselves, our body. And then, so that leads me into how do we get this, like, how do we get this awareness of our body? Is there something we can do to bring this sort of like awareness to ourselves? And I also want to have a little bit greater understanding of um, checking in with others, which probably brings about this allowance, right? Because what happens when their energy is like, no, like I love you, but like I don't, like don't mother me. And of
Yeah.
course, such a broad topic, but yeah, I like what what can we do to just like bring about more awareness? Do I just ask? Should I like get into a meditation for, well, I probably
Well,
that
I mean,
probably.
there's a simplicity of simply asking to be more aware. The
Mm,
universe, so the ask and you shall receive is one of the universal laws.
mhm,
So when you ask for
mhm,
something, the universe will bring it. So if you're asking for more awareness, which I mean, let's look at the fact the last how many years everybody's been becoming more enlightened. They,
mhm,
whatever term they're using, they wish to be more authentic or enlightened, or now it's embodied, or
mhm,
I don't know even what else is even newer than that. When we go on that path, guess what? We get bombarded with a barrage of things. If we want to be more
mhm.
well, maybe not. I don't want to be more empathic. So here.
Okay.
We can be more aware
Mhm,
and have a choice of whether or not we keep that in our body. When we ask
mhm,
to be more empathic, empathic is a diagnosis per se, saying we're too sensitive. We feel other people's things too much. We feel electric EMFs too much. If we're in a big building that has fluorescent lights, we feel that too much. We feel other
right.
people's angst and fear and what have you. it ain't ours, number one. It's other
Yes.
people's, and we have bought into it. This is more, this is what I like to talk about, some of my stuff.
Oh,
Yep.
let's just get right into it. Yes.
So 99.9% of it, folks, ain't yours. It's just
Hmm.
not yours.
Hmm.
How have we been brought up to believe everything, all those thoughts, feelings, and emotions that run through our mind and body are ours, and we need to
Oh,
do something about it.
no. Sarcastic laughter.
Oh,
No, no, you are not correct. It is not. And that is so powerful.
yeah.
So powerful. We feel as though, well, if I'm having these thoughts or I keep feeling this symptom, it's mine. It's happening to my body. It's a thought. It's my mind. It's all mine. But this spans us out to, oh, this is a one source consciousness expressed in many ways. There is sovereignty, and there's a whole mind field out there for,
Yes.
you know, uh, for
I believe
clarity.
that's been called conscious connectedness in
Mhm.
years past.
Indeed. Yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
right. Conscious
and,
connectedness.
and probably other names. And
Mhm.
yes, we can be, in some respects, we are all one.
Mhm.
And we are sovereign individuals. We have bodies. Our bodies have awarenesses. Now, we can ask for more awareness, or we can simply be more aware.
Hmm.
The other side of that, when it starts getting pokey and angsty and uncomfortable, or depressive, or you want to cry, or you want to scream, strangle somebody, even if it's yourself,
Mhm.
how about we ask for greater
Mhm.
allowance of what's coming in and through us and being around us, or if somebody's
Yeah.
coming at us, projecting at us energies, or words, unkindness,
Mm.
or sexualness that we don't want to receive, or whatever it might be. I have an exercise.
Ooh, I'm ready. You know, I'm all about these exercises. And I know how many people speak to being empathic, and I just want to do that before we step into this exercise. I want to cover that thought that I had, because
Do.
there's this two side. It's also sort of this two side, like, oh yes, I'm very empathic. I hear a lot of people say, and then some people will also get into that conversation, and I've enjoyed, getting into that conversation with others. Well, I'm empathic, but that causes me a lot of issues, like because I feel what other people feel, and I feel it so much, or I can see what they're going through, and then I try to help them, or it overwhelms me, or like I can't sleep, but I know it's because I'm so connected to this other person and they're dealing with this, and that connectivity, which is so beautiful and gives us this access and awareness that it is, instead of being closed off. But then what's this balance of the energy when our awareness or our sensitivity, or uh, yeah, I like those two words, or the empathic nature, may feel too much, or if we're just this is like a teaching of I wish that, I would have been taught this in some very clear way when I was. How helpful would that be if we would learn these things when we were 5, 6 years old, 4, 5 years
Oh my
old?
gosh.
This
Or
is.
just getting them, um, by osmosis, with our parents doing these
Mhm.
things, talking about it. Oh,
$100%.
something's going on in my body, but I know it's not mine. Send it back.
Mhm.
Or I feel so aware of so much. Okay, let's expand, ask for greater allowance.
Mhm.
Uh,
Allowance.
yeah, yeah. And I
Mhm.
bring in the word expand with that, because when we're overwhelmed with things that are being said that feel like they're coming at us,
Mm.
most of us bring our energy field in so close to our bodies because we don't want to feel something, or we've been taught to put up barriers, put protection up.
Right.
Well, when that is so close. So Aladdin's lamp. the Disney cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Great big genie into this tiny little lamp. So that's what we're doing. Infinite being sucked down around our body or pushed out just enough to protect us.
Wow.
Oh, people, ooh, that feel good to me when that
No, I
happens.
want to be the genie.
Yeah,
Let's be
so
the
out
genie.
of the bottle or lamp.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we are this body, this beautiful body inside of this great big being, this infinite being, soul,
Mhm.
spirit, whatever you would like to call it. So when we contract down, things don't feel so good. We can also get
Mhm.
sick. There's all sorts of things we can create and do create in that scenario. And it is simply a scenario. We can change it in 10 seconds.
Yes,
We
yes,
can
yes.
change it in 10 seconds.
Well,
We
let's
can
change
add,
it.
yes. Okay, so we'll do a little, it'll be longer than 30 seconds, but one of my, did she call it 15 seconds or 30 seconds to bliss?
Mm.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that? And we can have it just like you said, 10 seconds.
We
Let's
can,
say 30 seconds.
yeah,
Every moment can be the moment to choose to change it. From
yeah,
awareness, masking, I'm very excited. Think that there is my experience with individuals, various different chronic diseases, or just mental emotional concerns, along with something physical. Um, there is a desire to be oneself, to be within one's own energy, but I think that awareness often does not come by revelation to that person until they're sort of out of the muck. But that's what I should say I have noticed in years past. One of the biggest things that I've noticed in the last 2 or 3 years, and of course we see what is a reflection, but more and more individuals, beings who are aware of something not being theirs or being affected by others' energies, or I think what it condenses down to is, well, what can I do? What can I do to not be so sensitive? Or what can I do versus the limiting language like, well, that's just, that's just how things are. Or this, these limiting things that I could just simply put it as their lies, limiting lies. Again, that's kind of why I back up and go, well, if we'd known this or we had seen it mirrored with our own family, if we had that blessing of understanding the energetic workings of life and how we can check in, bring that awareness, allow, shift everything within 30 seconds or less, whatever. It's not, we're talking this very moment. All right, I've said enough about that. I'm
okay,
basically just really excited to go through this. Thanks,
okay.
Sayler.
So part of this will be similar to the exercise we did in our first podcast. This one, but I'm going to bring into it the allowance and
Mm.
greater awareness, but not necessarily speaking it. Just be with it energetically. So if you, let's take 3 breaths and exhale.
Ah.
When we exhale with sound, it somehow lets more out. And
Mhm.
that H sound is also brings happiness and ease.
The heart chakra.
Ah,
Ah.
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 That in its of itself brings more peace and ease. Now, if you then connect with your energetic body and bring it in, or just be aware, ask for it to touch your physical body. And then ask for it to expand out, even the size of the room you're in, while still touching your body. Yeah. And then ask for it to expand out in all directions. Just keep expanding out. Go up 100 miles or 1,000 miles or further out if you so wish. Ooh. Oh.
Oh.
When connected with so many other beings and we start doing that, we allow others to do that too.
Mhm.
Now, just ask for energetics, the energy from the universe. Yeah, go somewhere. To go out through, I hope it moves. Come out, all the energy from through the universe come in through our crown chakra, but also as we have expanded out to come through that expanded energy. Just keep coming through us. It's not of us, it's not necessarily stopping with us, it's just continually moving. Yeah. And for some of you, you may not feel anything. For some of you, you may feel that it is creating greater ease, maybe tingling, bubbles, who knows. Now ask that energy turn to gold, the frequency of gold. You don't have to see it turn to gold. You don't have to see the energy movement. Just know it's happening and ask that energy frequency turn to gold. Yeah. Oh. And now ask for while the energy is coming through us and around us from the universe and is the vibration of gold, ask for the energy from the earth to come up through your feet and through your body and up and out the top of your head. And let those energies continue to move and mingle. That also creates greater allowance. It puts us in a space of expansiveness and spaciousness with more awareness. Yeah. And you can literally ask for this anytime. It just happens. And once you do it, when you do it more regularly, it becomes, there's just greater ease with it. And you can get to the point where you can do it as you're aware of possibly contracting, is just asking to expand and then move that energy through you and out. And as we move that energy out, then we're moving that energy out. We're creating greater peace and ease and expansiveness around us and through and for others who are within the energy field of however far out we expand. My practice is to expand it out a godzillion miles. Yeah. Because only God or the universe or spirit knows how far out a godzillion is.
Far out, man. It's far out.
Yeah.
I love it because there's no limitation.
Or coming out of that expansive, moving energy exercise, but don't end it. Let it keep flowing both directions and ask to expand out. I don't know if you could still heard, we were still connected when I said I asked for it to go out a godzillion miles. And God is not a term I use a lot, but once in a while. But as some of my teachers in Access talk about godzillion, only God knows how far out that is. So you could ask to go out millions of miles. Our energy field will do that. that infinite being, soul, spirit. And we just have to be mindful that if something upsets us, we might automatically start pulling it back in. And it might come in slowly or it might go,
Right.
oh, ouch. Okay, let's expand out again. Yeah.
I,
And there's no right or wrong about it. When you realize you're contracting or have contracted, just go, oh, I've done it again. Let's change this and expand out again.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
it's really simple. Then you can invite the earth back in. Hi, Earth. Hi, Earth. Hi, Gaia. Good to see you and be with you. Hi, body. Good to see and be with you again.
Mhm.
Yeah, it really does shift what's going on in the body and around. Um, yeah,
Absolutely. I
and
can
for
feel that,
yeah,
of
and for
course.
those of us who our main language is energy,
Hmm.
and we feel or are aware, we sense it. It shifts things very quickly. So
Mm.
please take that, use it, enjoy it.
Thank you, Sailor. I'm going to continue to. This is similar to a practice that I have done that I love. There's something so powerful about the support of one other or a small group, or, having, again, just that at least one other, but the larger of a group that we get, and we're speaking to energy. And this is timeless. You know how podcast recording, this is a evergreen. It's like typically somebody could come across this in 2034, and you know the moment of that we just took, which in all honesty, when one does it, after this initial leading through, it can be something 30 seconds. You could take 5 minutes to do it. You could be sitting there for 30 minutes just out. And that's it's not a new agey just like trick up your sleeve, just weird woo woo thing that you do and just tell your body. I mean, we have a knowing that our energetic being is infinite. The I am, and that our energetic, um, spiritual, causal being is without these limitations. So, of course, you can go out to infinity, and it is also timeless. So again, yeah, somebody listening to this 20 years from now, the moment that they do, it is a collective energy as well. It's supportive, but we can do it at any moment just for ourselves. And I love that because I think that's a powerful practice to support us in our awareness and our it's sort of like, oh, if you've noticed you contracted, and I thought, you mean if I notice that I'm not feeling happy, or not that happy has to be a constant, like I must only feel happy, but I'm feeling upset or unsettled, or I'm holding my breath, or my body is clenching, or my jaw is clenching, or these different aspects where our body will tell us or signal us, or somebody
Mhm.
looks at us and they go, is something wrong? No, you know, whatever it might be, we get a little signal like, oh, let me bring it back to this moment, which is timeless, in the energetic quantum realm, this beautiful little exercise, let's say, to connect with that greater awareness. And simply by asking, I love that. Ask and you shall receive. And so it is. And felt within this moment, I know clearly within myself. I was thinking about when we are expanding out to that greater awareness. I was thinking about, again, some past conversations, experiences with others, and they're speaking about, feeling overwhelmed by something. Well, so it's like the question is, well, if I expand out and I have all this awareness, and you did kind of touch on this, I'm expanding out and I have this energetic awareness, and I start picking up on like, oh, I'm seeing something or I'm hearing something, and I'm not talking about that in a negative way, but greater awareness that it may become overwhelming, and we can contract down again, but some people are more in that expanded space already. What about like, well, I'm so expanded already,
Mhm.
but it doesn't feel comfortable. Should I do an awareness where I bring my energy in, or how do I, is there something more to do to remain sensitive or remain aware, but it not feel overwhelming? Of course, I believe it's individual, but I think that there's some golden nuggets in there.
There are many tools. I mean, even asking for greater allowance
Hmm.
with what you're receiving.
Perfect.
You can also, so I mean, bottom line, if we're feeling uncomfortable with things that are coming through our awareness, and this is just my interesting point of view, and I could change it tomorrow or after I say it, or with some more input from Dr. Jen, but fear and lies
Hmm.
are what cause contraction. And fear is a lie. It's
Hmm.
false events appear real. So
Yes.
it's basically a lie.
Hmm.
So in everything that comes to us and from us, there is truth and lie. Now, how much of it might depend upon how where we are with our bodies, our communication with our bodies, because when our body senses a lie, it contracts.
Hmm. Yes. It might
So,
explain.
yeah, and it could be other people. So you can actually, if you get something that doesn't feel like yours, and remember, 99.99% of it isn't yours, you can simply ask, is this mine or someone else's?
There you go.
And most of the time it will go away. Now, if it doesn't go away automatically, don't buy into it's yours. Because remember, I said sometimes we just buy into these things anyway and we think they're ours. Or maybe Jen said that, but we're both talking about this.
Yes.
We might ask ourselves, have I bought into this as mine and real? And if it's light versus contracted, because contracted might mean it's a lie, remember?
Hmm.
We can then ask that it be returned. So I would ask or say return to sender with consciousness attached.
Oh, beautiful. That's
Yeah,
an addition. I'm going to add that with
yeah.
consciousness
So
attached. I
return to
love.
sender means we don't have, well, the consciousness attached means they get to deal with it. They hopefully will become conscious of what they're saying or doing and putting out into the world. We are working through that. Yeah, the awareness brings about consciousness. So as we send that back and ask for them to have consciousness in it,
Hmm.
we might also then again feel lighter.
Yeah.
And you might have to ask, you might just have to repeat that, return to sender with consciousness attached, return to sender with consciousness attached, return to sender with consciousness attached, until you feel like a broken record. But eventually you're going to go, why am I saying this? I don't even remember what was going on that I was saying
Mm.
it.
Mm. I do have a little, that's very cognizant of a subconscious technique that I use or instruct others at times to do.
Yeah.
There's a component with that subconscious clearing um, that you may be holding onto emotion as you are checking in to do this technique, and you're trying to remember the emotion. Again, it may not be something that's present even in the moment. It could have been something that happened a long time ago, or it's related to someone else. And again, this kind of brings up the fact or the reality that who are we anyways, and what is ours. And so, unattachment in this spiritual way, but also quite literally energetic way. And backing up, so a person's going through the technique and they're focusing on this emotion, and or maybe an event, and it's really quite triggered. It's got to be like at least a 7 out of 10. And then going through the technique, and then all of a sudden, and I've done this many times, taking these breaths. Now, what was I thinking about? What was that emotion? What was, can't even remember it a few moments later once it's clear. So this, you know, there's also the saying like, well, if you have to say something more than once, and I'm not going to get it right, but basically you're not saying it right. I don't 100% agree with that. I think that sort of like we self-soothe or we sing songs or we move our body. It's not like, oh, I need to move my body. Let me move it once. Using our internal voice or speaking it out loud or writing it down and trusting the release, the sending back, the letting go. Because again, it's not as though the moment we say that we're necessarily going to see like an explosion of light and you might, but then be like, oh, okay, yes, now I'm cleared, of what doesn't feel good. But there's that feeling. The more I believe that we check in, ask for awareness, and connect with the ether, connect with the earth, connect into our bodies, and expand to whatever we feel comfortable, whatever held in, we're safe in that container. That the more that we do that, the more there is a listening and awareness that grows in the body, just like you're saying. Do you want to eat? Are you hungry? Do you really want to get up? Or no, I should, or do you really want to go do this? Or is it just this repeat of lies or fear based? Like, well, if I don't, then I'm going to be looked at like this. So I really should, but I don't feel like it. Like we're our own barometer for the pressure, right? We're our own little meter that tells us what's going on. And sometimes it's not so clear. And, you can get heady. I know I have had a lot of experience with that, but to not own that so much, to go through that period or awareness where, gosh, there's so many thoughts, there's so much conflicting. So how do we know? The mind can be like, you should do this. No, I think I should do this. And this back and forth, this angel and devil on your shoulder, right? And how it is that we're checking in with our being. The physical body is here to help us. It's not just like this meat suit that carries us around, and I can't wait till I ascend so that things will actually be wonderful, and I despise being human on this earth, and it's just a prison or whatever. But when I become this spirit only, then it'll be great. That's the rapture. To not disown that this is a perfect temple, each and every one, for our own direction, and that this self-mothering, this self-embodiment, this which is of course in connection to all, as you said. When we do it, we give that energetic signal or permission or whatever it would be for others around us, because this is all energy. And I love that it's so powerful for you simply showing us today and us going through it. I can speak for myself. It's powerful. I'm excited for other people to give it a try if they weren't able to do it while they're joining us right now. And and to that last bit too, allowance. Allowance. There's a lot of judgment of things that do come up. And of course, there's that fine line of like, well, what do you allow that's like not okay at all? It's, truly something bypassing your physical boundaries or your safety boundaries or what have you. But when it's feeling more energetic, you're having thoughts or feelings, and they're not happening in that moment. There's not an immediate danger in that moment, or you're not talking to that person, but now it's right here, right now. And it's like in your energy, and it's changing how you're feeling. But all that's happening in a sense is what you can like so powerfully choose in the moment, shift into this connection and awareness with all it is in connection to our spiritual body, and ask for allowance. And there's a gentleness. It speaks to me of like vulnerability and connectivity and embodiment and empowerment. And it might sound so simple, and it is simple. That's the thing. I love that. It's not to connect to ourselves. I believe it's a journey.
it's almost like meditation, like, I don't know how to meditate. I can't meditate. Like, what or I these statements like, "I can't because I haven't done it much," because there's a judgment of that there may be a judgment of, like, "I don't have experience with that," or, "I don't even know. I don't feel anything. Should I be seeing something?" I couldn't really tell. I fell asleep while I was trying to do that. These different things that happen when we're, receiving feedback. And, again, it's a beautiful opportunity to go, "Is that true?" Is there something to do? Fight yourself about it. Oh, I shouldn't think this way, on and on. Bringing it right back. Close those eyes, take some breaths, connect, awareness, and allow. And number one is that allowance and awareness within our own being, nurturing and mothering ourselves, loving our own selves. I think that in turn, and we can definitely get into that, and I'm sure we're going to continue some of this conversation. Be really interested in what people are interested in us going further into in the mothering topic. I know we're always in, um, well, we're always in your quantum embodiment, and some embodiment pieces to that. But when it comes to the mothering aspect, our connection with the world at large and with ourselves, um, it is something that we as a collective consciousness are more fast forward to notice things on the energetic, spiritual, intuitive level. It might to some be like, this is, yeah, I know this intuitively, but I don't have like teachings in it. I wasn't raised to understand my dreams or understand these feelings, or even that thoughts are not necessarily like just mine, and feelings are not just necessarily mine, and even symptoms are not mine. But how do we come to a greater understanding and empowerment in that? I mean, it really is these simple practices. And I love that you have years of background experience supporting other people. And I have done so in different settings as well. And I think that that's called for. I don't like to go into like purpose, but it feels good. It feels good to support others, because the moment that you're empowering, say, here, ask this of yourself, take a moment, feel the difference. Just give yourself the time for that. Trust there's not something broken, and you are able to simply by asking, and ye shall receive. You might not notice a shift in that moment, but it is inspiring to the soul, to say the least, when we turn our attention to things other than just the physical, and yet at the same time honoring this physical um, temple, as it were. Going all over the place here, but Sailor, is there any last thoughts that you have as we're going to close, bring it to a close here today? I just so enjoyed this.
Be gentle with yourselves. Mother
Mm,
yourself. In a way of mothering that you would enjoy, and maybe do an exercise for yourself offline of what would mothering for you be? What would you
mm,
like to receive from someone else who is really there for you? And then see what of those aspects you can do for yourself, and
mhm,
maybe find someone else in the world and ask them if they would be that for you when you need mothering,
mhm.
you know?
Powerful, powerful as
Ask
always.
and you
Yes,
shall receive.
absolutely. A trusted and loving individual. To be
Yeah,
gentle,
yeah.
loving. Absolutely. And I want to iterate when you said, check in. I'm picturing like, you know, take a piece of paper and a pen, and, that because I love to write, and think it helps express, and we can even use our opposite hand, maybe we're right-handed.
Mm,
If you practice long enough, it's not about getting it perfect or needing to reread it, but getting it out from the subconscious. I would write with my left hand, but writing it down, how I want to be mothered. And instead of well, I don't want to be, not to be ignored and not to be, but in the positive, to listen. I want to be a listener, a comforter. I desire, um, bubble baths on Wednesday nights or, whatever, but positive sense and loving. And there's no right or wrong. And who's the judge ultimately? We could just say that what we end up experiencing primarily is self. And if it ends up seeming like it's coming from others, that might give a little tip off as to what's happening with self. Um, I just, you can't go wrong when you bring it around to be gentle and loving. It's just a beautiful aspect of mothering, loving, nourishing, and not just feeling like we have to do it on our own or really lock it down, have this poise or this control over how good we take care of and never divert from whatever it is that we might be feeling we must do. Discipline is good because it shows self-love, but there's times for, gentleness, even from something that feels like, but this, I should meditate because it's the best thing for me, or maybe that's not the best idea because you could do that even if you're not feeling well, typically. But um, just because something is positive, let's check in with self first, body awareness. I love this practice. I think I'm going to take it and run with it, so to speak. I'm going to incorporate it now as an extension or beginning to each day before my meditations and bring in this greater awareness and ask for that allowance to be more of a clear channel for things to flow and for that loving energy to flow and expand. I'm so looking forward to the conversation to continue as we dive more into the embodiment, mothering, what have you, all the different aspects we have to explore. And I want to remind everybody that you can reach out to Sayler directly if you've got Telegram at Sayler Shiningstar, or contact her via email at saylershiningstar@proton.me. And we will be uh, sharing more in the near future here. We're going to get onto more of a regular schedule, everything's a progression. And as we do, we'll be welcoming in a new year, that new energy. And whenever you're listening to this, welcome you to contact either of us and explore your own embodiment and awareness and ask and you shall receive. And Sayler, would you like to?
Well, the couple things I wanted to let people or remind people how they could get in touch with you. So you can reach Dr. Jen at Vitality Healing ND for naturopathic doctor.com. So vitalityhealingnd.com, or through LinkedIn or Linktree/Dr. Markham.
Excellent.
Yeah. And so, this is the perfect time of year. It's the 14th in 10 days. Not that this will go up today, but we have the holiday seasons upon us. We are in December. Family, whatever that family is that we are in and around. Work family, religious family, family of of choice, family that you've been born into, whatever that may be. And many people can bring stuff up for us, or we can bring stuff up for ourselves because of something somebody has said. It basically comes back to us. So use these tools. Ask, who does this belong to? Expand and pull energy. Do your energy flows, or breathing as Dr. Jen was talking about. And even we didn't do that then, or did we? I guess we did do some breaths in the beginning. That is so relaxing to help center. And you can do those things. If you don't feel like you can do them right with the family looking at you, go into the bathroom, breathe,
Mhm.
pull energy, do what you need to do to be present with you
Mhm.
and not be bothered by their interesting points of view.
That's a great reminder. It is. And actually, a couple days ago, a dear sister friend of mine had this experience. She did just that. She said, I was feeling a certain way. I just went into the bathroom. I took some deep breaths. She's like, and when I came out, my entire countenance, my whole energy and attitude was shifted, and the people noticed, and it just kind of went beautifully, just shifted, because bringing it back to that power, that essence within, and I love it. Great, and this will go up pretty soon. We'll make it before the
Okay.
end of the year. All right, until next
Oh,
time.
yes. Jen, thank you so much for co-producing this. It's so much fun to do this together.
It is. It is. I love the reflections. I love the conversation, and it is so fun. I look forward to our next talk, our next share, and diving
Yeah.
into more of the quantum world with you.
Yeah. And you
Just-
guys, when you find this, it'll be up on Dr. Jen's YouTube. If you find it when I get them up on my YouTube, or contact us with through the other ways.
Mhm.
Let us know what you would like to hear about,
Please.
because
Yes.
we have a variety, varying ages between the two of us, experiences, some very common, some very different, and we love to ping things out there and see what comes up organically and what comes
Yes.
back from you that we can then energetically that we can address. So yeah,
Yes.
and it's a gifting and receiving. It's a mothering of each other.
Oh, yes. And this is a conversation. We're not talking at you, although it may feel that way in this style. We're talking to ourselves ultimately, but we're talking and sharing and communing. And so we want to hear from you. And that brings it to the relevance of the energies that are working within and come to our conscious awareness, but something that somebody else might offer. We might be experiencing that. We may not have even thought of it. It's exciting. I love that idea to exactly ping into different things. We have a lot of different experience. And then, there's what we call like the wild card too, or even the mundane, which might sound like a negative, but it's not, it's the kind of the everyday. And I'm excited to go in all these directions, as it were, to expand out. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that
Okay.
reminder. All right.
Thank
Until next
you.
time.
All right, you
Blessings.
all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.